And away we go, test 7. Test 7 begins with a slope. They want to know the slope, so we could go down to alpha S slope program and hit -2, maybe -6, and 5, 3. And that gives you the slope of the line is 9/7. Equation 9/7x plus -24/7. And of course, what does that mean? It means it's positive choice A. Okay. Number 2 is just add the numbers, add the i's. So it's 3 plus 5 is 8 minus I. So that would be choice J. Of course, you could also do the components. I would use whole quantity, 3 minus 4 second decimal for the I. And it's sum, so it's plus 5 plus 3I. And there is the answer using the calculator, 8 minus I. Pretty cool, huh? Ratio proportion, number 3. It says that we accept to apply, so a ratio of 2 to 7. So we accepted 630. So how many applied? And you just cross multiply. 2 times x is 7 times 630, which will give me what? And divide that by 2 because we're solving. It's going to be 2205. Okay, so I forgot what that was. 4410 divided both sides by 2. The old cross multiply divide, and we get C. Here come angles of a triangle, and who's next to 150 here is 30. 30 because they complete the line inside here, and then the 3 angles of a triangle add up to 180. So 30 and 40 make 70. So the third one has to be 110. All that to set up who supplements 110. So 110 plus x has to be 180. We get the answer by 180 minus 110, 70. No program for that one, but it's certainly a typical problem. Okay, number 5 is it's area proportionality. So there's a rectangular box that is 6 by 13, and inside is a square 4 by 4. So if something lands anywhere in the box, well, the box is the total. So the area of the box is the total. That's 6 times 13, 78. So that's the total area, typical probability. And inside the square, so what's the area of the square? 4 times 4 is 16. So the answer is 16 over 78 for area probability. They want the decimal, so it's 0.205, and that is closest to 21 rounded to C. Slope-intercept form means solve for y. So we keep the negative y and we toss the rest, negative 9x plus 5, and then we have to divide by -1. So the answer is 9x minus 5, choice H. The old ratio proportion thing again. This time we use the colon. So xy I call 5x, and yz I call 9x because it's bigger. That's what I do with 5 colon 9. So xz is the sum of them, 14x. So the question is, what is xy to the whole thing? And the x cancels, and it's 5 to 14. They love that question. This is just solving. You could use equation solver, but you really just have to subtract 4 and divide by 2. So that would be x is greater than -6. We don't switch the arrow unless we divide by a negative, which we certainly didn't do there. Answer G. Power to a power, you multiply. So it's 3 times 21, 63. Stow. Go -3, stow x. You're used to this, huh? So we go to our calculator, -3 stow x, and then we hit the equation 3x squared plus 7x minus 8. I love stow for plugging in. I could take a little second off, and it answers -2 on the problem. Okay, G. All right, top of the next line, the sides, 2 sides are equal in length, so that means that, right? The third side is 3 longer than either of the 2. So just go x, x for the equal. And what does 3 longer mean? X plus 3. Perimeter, you add them up, so you get x plus x plus x plus 3 is 3x plus 3. Subtract 3, 3x is 90, x is now 30, and 30 is not the answer, 30 is the x. The longest side is 30 plus 3. Everybody hates this one, and I am at the head of the row. There are 220, and there are 10 seats in the first row, and they sit in a way that there are 2 more in each row. So it's triangular fan-out seating. So how many people are in the first row? 10. Second row, 12. And then you got to keep adding up all the way to 220. Well, the only way I really know how to do that is to go 10 plus 12 plus 14 until I smell it. 18, that would be 5 rows. 20 would be 6. 22 is 7. Let's see how long that is. 8. 9, 10, and I think the next row is 11. So 30 people in the last row, and look at the question. They're asking for how many rows, huh? How many rows will be needed, and the answer is 11, huh? All right, why is that? Is it took, how far did we go? I lost track. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 rows to get to the top. Second quit clear to get out of that. And then 11 is midpoint given. Midpoint given because they say it's the midpoint. So you go to mid given. We haven't seen this in class much or at all. And the mid is 3, -7. And one of the points is 9, -11. And the program will give me the other point without me having to think. -3, 3. It's choice B. Huh? Next page. All right, here we go. The old tickets sold, huh? And 2 types of tickets were sold. We got $10 for the premium and $6 for the value, huh? It's school A, so we made $1,400. And there were 200 tickets sold, P plus V is 200. We have seen this in our class before, almost the exact same thing, and simultaneous, we got the 10, the 6, and the 1400. And then we got the 1, and the 200 for 200 tickets. And it ends up being 50 and 150. So that means 50 of the premium, 150 of the value choice J. The theater group had to pay a facility. School C charged 10% of the sales and that old fixed fee. So it's $1,200 plus 10% of the sales, which were $1,800. So it's 1,800 times 10%, and then you add 200. So 1,800 times 0.1 or 10 over 100 or 0.10 plus 200, and that's the fee for doing it, is $380 choice E. Median and mean of the tickets. So the median is the middlest number. So I'll list them all. What is that? 200, 250 is higher, 300 is highest, 275 and 150. I list all three, and the median is 250. That's the middlest number. Mean is the average, so I have to add up 200 to 250 to 300 to 150 and 275. I get that number and I divide by 5 different schools, and it's 235 is the average. So what's the difference between them? K, 15. 17 is a program. It's a right triangle. The sides are 10. Now, which one is which? The hypotenuse has to be the biggest. So this is area of triangle. It's an early program, number 5. And all you have to do is hit the altitude 10 and the base 24. Don't you dare hit 26. The area is 120, choice E. How we doing so far? A mean is average. So that's total. Average is total. So you go 85 times 7, and you get 595. So that's the total. And then they give you the first 6. So add up the first 6. 82 plus 93 plus 68 plus another 93 plus 70 plus 98. I'm always scared I'm going to press a wrong button on the calculator. 504 is the total. So the missing number is what's subtracted, huh? 91, answer J. Smallest angle is opposite the smallest side. Here we go again. The largest side's got to be the hypotenuse. So which is the smallest angle? The one over here. It's opposite the 7, huh? And they want to know the sine. Chief Sokotoa says sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Choice A, 7 over 25. Hey, 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 haven't seen this guy in a while. Split it up. Left rectangle's 50, and the right that's 5. So it's 12 minus 5, 7, 21. 71 is the right answer. Choice G. Rolling right along, what's 21 say? The triangle has sides x, x plus 3, and x plus 5. Perimeter means add them up. 3x plus 8 is 26. Subtract 8, x is 6. And this is one of those times where they're actually looking for x. 22 is a tad confusing. The truck leaks. So we had 480 ounces of fluid, and it leaks at 4 per minute. So that gives me 120 minutes to drive before it's empty. 2 hours, huh? At 35 miles per hour for 2 hours. 35 times 2 is the answer. Choice J. This one always drove me crazy. The 3 flavors are vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. And I sold 42 cones. Now this is hard for me. It says 11 more chocolate than vanilla. That means that vanilla is chocolate minus 11, huh? Because there's more chocolate to make it equal. And then it says 2 more with vanilla than strawberry. So the strawberry is plus 2 to make it equal. I always have trouble which way to put the plus, but we got to make it equal so you actually Robin Hood, you give to the poor. So we have an expression for V for all 3 of these. I have to switch it. So the first one, V is itself. C is V plus 11. And S is V minus 2. So that's 3V plus 9 is 42. 3V is 33. V is 11. But careful, they want strawberry. So strawberry's going to end up being 9 because they sold 2 more, you see. This one, I'm going to use leg. They give me the hypotenuse is 10, and the leg is 8. So it's this side right here. So I use the program leg. We haven't used that much, but the hypotenuse is 10, and the leg given is 8, so the third leg is 6. A lot of y'all know that as a special triangle. Now that means since D is the midpoint, 3 and 3. So we're looking for AD. What's AD? It's a hypotenuse of 3 and 8. So you get to use hypotenuse here. The sides are, I'm supposed to put it there. The sides are 3 and 8. Bada bang. It's the square root of 73 that they're looking for. Okay? Let's see what we're going to do. We're going to find the x is the mean of the 5 x's, and the y's is the mean of the 5 y's. So let's add up the x's. -2, -1, -2, 1, and 4 is 0 over 5. and the y's are 4, 1, -2, -1, and -2. That's also 0. So the point, the average for the so-called new point is C, 0, 0. We talked about this, the geometric sequence. That means you're multiplying. So what are we multiplying by? We're actually dividing by -2. So you just start with 10, and you divide by -2 to get 5. That's the second one, -5, right? And then this is the third one. And this is the fourth one. And I think they're looking for the fifth one. Matha Freka. 5/8. So it'd be choice 8. Dividing by -2 would be the same thing. We get H 5/8. This one's tricky. It's trouble reading. He works 8 hours a day, and he's paid either $10 an hour. So that's $80 a day for 8 hours, huh? But he could also get paid $1 per shirt. So on Monday, he did 60. Well, if he did 60, he's just going to get paid the $80. That's the minimum. And then 80 on Tuesday, but he gets 85 on Wednesday because he pays the $80, 80 on Thursday, and $90 on Thursday. You see, if you do more than 80 shirts, you get more. So what is his total pay for the 4 days, 5 days? You add up 380s, 90, and 85. And that gives you 415C. Hey, 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 hey! Chance to use quadratic, huh? So it hasn't been used much in class, Quad 2002. And the numbers are 5, 7, and 2. And what are they looking for? The answers are 2 really clean, rational numbers. So we don't have to do anything. It's not 1. It's not 1. It's not irrational. That would be radicals. And complex would have I in them. So the answer is 8. Like that. Didn't have to lift a finger. This one's cool. It's the use hypotenuse, 5, 12, and a lot of y'all should know this triple. I know my class does. We practice the triples all the time. The third side is 13. So back to the test. It says we start at A and ride the whole course. So the whole course is 5, 18, the whole course is the perimeter, so that's 30. And he wants to put a water fountain, a water stop in the middle halfway. So you ride this 5, and you got to go 15 for the middle, so you got to go 10 more miles. So the water stop is 10 miles past B. 120 students, and 1/3 are taking lit. So 40 are lit. Of the students not taking lit, so if 40 are lit out of 120, 120 minus 40, 80, 1/4 are taking composition. So the answer is 20, 1/4 of the knots. I'll be honest with you, this kind of makes me mad. I go straight to equation solve. Left block, square root of x, get out, plus the square root of 9. Some of y'all might enter 3. And then the right side is the square root of 36. Some of y'all might enter 6. Okay. Alpha solve. There's 9. Answer D. You could have also done this. Subtracted 3 and squared both sides. 3 squared is 9. Tricky trig here. The sine is 3/4. So there's angle A. That means that the opposite to the hypotenuse has to be 3 to 4. Well, isn't the opposite 12? Cross multiply, divide. 3h is 48. H is 16. But that's not what we're solving for. We're solving for this. So use program leg. Leg asks for hypotenuse first. 16. And leg second, 12. And the answer is the square root of 112. Remember, you have simprad or rad simp that you could put 112 into if you needed it. We don't need it because that was the only answer for radical 7. That was the only answer that that was non-perfect there. So it has to be this. 33 you're going to love. I put the darn thing right into the calculator. 3, open parentheses, math, you go down to log base. And it's 216. Believe, that's all, folks. The answer is 12, choice A. Isn't this grand? Tricky probability. A bag has a bunch of marbles on 3 consecutive draws with replacement. That means I draw and put it back. We draw a red every time. So what does that mean? That means that at least one of the marbles is red. We may be picking all the reds. We may be picking the 3 that are, but we can definitely surmise. We can't surmise this. We might just be getting lucky. It's got to be F, which is at least 1 red. All right. During one complete ride, what is the total distance in miles during one ride of the roller coaster? So the average speed is 50 miles per hour. But we don't ride but for 2.25 minutes. So that's 50 miles in 1 hour. And we are in there for 2.25 minutes. So how much of an hour that is, I divide that by 60. So it's 2.25 divided by 60 hours. You got me? And I take that and I multiply by 50 to get how far the trip is. It's 1.875, rounding to 1.9. The roller coaster is at a height of 235 for at least 5 seconds, for a total of 5 seconds. Which of the following is closest to the percent time that it's at that height? So I would say 5 seconds over the whole ride. The whole ride is 2.25 minutes. So this is all playing with 60. I would go times 60 now because I want to see how many seconds this is. So it's 2.25 times 60, 135. So it's at that height for 5 over 135, which is what? Just 3% of the time, or actually 3.7%. They rounded to 4. Average slope between 40 and 90. Well, let's look at it. 40, we're about 50. And 90, we're about 250. So I just make ordered pairs out of it and do the slope program. And the slope rounds to about 4 when you do it on slope. So it's program slope. For that, rise to run. Oops, I hit simul. And it's what? 40, about 50. About 50. And what was the other one? 90 to 50. I'll give you a slope of 4. Okay? Use slope to bail you out of a lot of things. It's probably the most popular program. Stow. X is 10. So let's use 10 stow X and put that bad dog into the calculator. Is it X caret 5? Open 0.5x squared. I would die doing this. Plus 2.5x plus 6. And but deeble, that's all, folks. It's 81050. So 8, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what's that? 8.1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. 10 to the 6th. Choice J. 9 is the greatest difference between the mean and the median. Well, here they'd be the same here. And we need an outlying number. So we need it to be in here, huh? And the choice is clearly D, because the difference here, the median's going to be 15, but the average is going to be set off. Here the average is set off, but so is the median would be in the middle, so it's got to be D. Whew, this one's rough. It's the area of the shaded is all this stuff, right? So look at this here. The rectangle is 20 by 32. So isn't that 20 times 32, which is 640? but we have to subtract half the circle. Now careful, 4 and 4 make 8. That makes the diameter, the rest, 24, but it makes the radius 12. Now I forgot, I remember doing this problem. The radius is 12, so I'll use the numerical area 452, but it's not 452, it's only half. So it's half of 452 that we're subtracting 226. So the answer is 640 minus 226. This is the circle, half the circle subtracted from the rectangle. The old sidewalk. If it's 3 feet wide, it's 6 feet wide. If it's built all the way around, and this is 30, you lose 3 twice. If this is 40, you lose. So what is the perimeter of the pool? It's those numbers added up. And that gives you 116, I think. Always remember that tip. I learned it in calculus. G of F of. This one's tricky. F of means to copy x squared. So f of x is x squared. G of means plug into G. So we're going to plug into G, 1 over 4 minus what? We're going to plug x squared in. So the answer is F. We're plugging x squared in to G. Tricky. This one you kind of need to know your formula. I usually say you don't. A circumference is 2 pi radius. So 2 pi root 2 is 2 pi radius. The 2 pi cancels, and the radius is square root of 2. Now you could use my program because the radius is root 2, and you get 2 pi or 6.28 for the answer. This is shift rules. My Mount Carmel girls are the best. This means to take the F and down 3. So 0, -2 is just like any other point. We're going to go down 3, and there it is. I'll have to ask my students that in class tomorrow. This one's tough. You're on the parabola. Now, what's the parabola got to do? It's got to do that. So let's talk the talk. It's got to have 3 and -3. So that ain't helping. It's got to be x squared. So these guys are dead. They're x squared with an x. And this guy's dead because he's an x cubed. Now, what is, since it says parabola, it's got to be x squared. So both of these are legit. It's got to be AY because the parabola is sad. So it's got to have a negative in front for the sad face. This one would be the opposite shape up. We could check that by plugging it into graph. I hardly ever use graph on this test, but let's look at it. -1/3. What was it? X -3. times x plus 3. Tada bing. Graph. It's going to look like what we just saw, huh? Turning point and so forth. Don't have time on the video. I'm always in a hurry. But I would say to do them more. What is this approach? As x continuously increases, hey, just make x 100. If x is 100, wouldn't this be 100 over 103? Let's see what that's getting close to. 0.97. Well, what if it's 10,000? 0.99. Ain't it getting close to 1? We'll have 30 marbles, and this is the breakdown. I will draw 2 without replacing. So what's the probability that I draw black? 30 marbles. How many are black? 6 out of 30. Second marble is green. There's only 2 greens, but there ain't 30 marbles no more. There's 29. So it's 6 over 30 times 2 over 29 Metha-Freca. That's the reduced count. It's when we draw marbles without replacing. That means I don't place this first one back in, and that changes the denominator to 29. Okay, it's undefined when the bottom can't be 0. So B can't be what? 2C. Halfway between is the average. The way I always think of it is what's halfway between 3 and 7? 5. 3 plus 7 divided by 2. So I do the same thing here. 2/5 plus 8/7. Add them up. Divide by 2. Metha-Freca. 27 over 35. I actually use equation solver here, but the problem is there's 2 answers. And 0 power is 1. So x squared minus x has to be equal to 0 for the powers to be the same. Because 3 to the 0 is 1. So I use quadratic here. There's a couple of tricks, but you could use quadratic and hit 1, -1, -2, and it'll give you the answers 2 and -1, huh? Choice H. You could also put in the equation to solver and get it. I'll be about 6 more minutes, 7 more minutes. You got stuff to do? Next one is the center. I've talked about this before. Is 3, 5 right here. Now the foci or inside the ellipse on the long side like that. So they're inside on the long axis, which is here, so they can only be that point. Every other point has a resting on the axis. Can't be 0, 5. That's on the graph. Okay, it can't be 3, 0. It can't be 5, 0. It can't be 3, 5. That's the center. So D, process of elimination, is the only thing it can be. Uh-oh. What's this? Each ball has a number, so I wrote all the balls. There's 2 blue, 3 red, red 1, red 2, red 3, and 5 green. So let's count. 1 draw. What's the probability that it's red or has a 3? Boom, boom, boom. That's 3 reds, 1 more in the green department. So 4 out of 10 have that trait. Drop the altitude for area. Boom. We got a right triangle. 30, 60, 90. How long is the 30? Half the hypotenuse, it's 6. Bada bing, area of triangle program with 6 and 13 listed. Squat, 39. "66 calories and 15 grams of Parmesan. 59% of those come from fat. So when measuring, 5 grams is equal to 1 tablespoon. What the heck is going on? So if I'm getting a tablespoon, I'm getting this divided by 3. So ratio proportion. 66 has 15 grams. So 5 grams would have X. Cross multiply, divide. X is 22. And what are we doing now? It's saying we want the calories from fat. So 59% of that. So you would times 22 by 0.59. And what's that? 13. This one, somehow the shaded got but it's just 1/4 of 1/4. The square, you got 1/4 of it, and of that 1/4, you're shading 1/4. So it's 1/4 of 1/4, or 1/4 times 1/4 of means times, and that's 0.06%, or rather 0.06 as a fraction or decimal, 6% as a over 100. Bill Gates problem, if you've got 10 numbers and we take the largest one and we change the value with something way greater. So let's just say we got 1 through 10. We take out the 10 and replace it with 1,000 to be silly. Well, the median's not going to give a care, huh? The median's still going to be the middlest number. It's the mean that's going to go through the roof. So the answer is F. The mean goes nuts, but the median stays put. Again, that's that problem. I call it the Bill Gates problem. All right, this one, you just got to guess the combo. It's $5 a teacher, $3 a student. So 10 students and 2 teachers. And one school is 25 let's see, one teacher and 10 students. So it's this crossed with that. When you multiply matrices, it's this times the column. So there's the matchup. $5 a teacher, $3 a student, and here's the other one. We'll give you the matchup. A. These are illegal because you don't match this. They have to match perfectly. And these would be right, but they're backwards. It's not what it's saying. 58 is weird. Always is. But it's saying this new thing I've never heard of is the sum of all the numbers. So what it is, I'm just going to do 5 for the n and check it. So this one would be 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 6. Well, wouldn't that equal 6 countdown? I don't think 2 and 3 have any chance because this one would be 2. I'll just do 2. 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus itself would be, this is 15, and 15 would be 30, and 2n would be 10 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7. That's already over the amount. And there's no way it works for square. I could show it to you. This would be 25 countdown, and this would be 30 squared. So there's no way that 25 countdown equals that. It's going to be 1 only. This one is the box. You cut up things and fold it up. And the volume 72. Now careful. The answer's got to be 10. Because when you start with a 10 and you cut a 2, you cut the 2 twice like our border. So the box ends up being 6 by 6 by 2, which is 72 for the volume. Okay, this one would give you 5 by 5 by 2 because you lose 2 on each side, and that's too small, and you quickly realize. And then 60, you could use quadratic. Okay, it's certainly not F. I'll try one wrong answer. Let's try G. G is all ones for A, B, and C. And that should give you 1 plus minus I, and it don't. Who does is the right answer. Unfortunately, it's the last answer. 1 minus 2 and 2. And look at what it gives you for the answer. 1 plus or minus I. Ain't you glad you took the course? K is the right answer. Bada bing. I'm done.